Hi guys, Cage Cloud here with another Honeymoon review, this time for the Expanse. This is a requested review by one of my Patreon subscribers, so if you want me to review the introduction to a TV series or a video game or whatever, you can go and, go on my Patreon and pay $10 a month and send me like a message about what you want me to cover. But yeah, let's get into the Expanse. So off the bat, they have this really fast text crawl. It's not even a crawl. Like, it's not like the Star Wars crawl up or anything like that. It's just stuff, pop on screen, disappear, pop on screen, disappear. And it goes by way too fast. I could catch some of it, and I couldn't read all of it, and I'm a pretty fast reader. So just in general, I thought it was a bad idea. It also is like a weird way to introduce, because it's just a weird way to introduce you to the TV series because it comes across as just kind of like boring, which is not how you should start a series. And I feel like they have a scene you just immediately following where they have this narrator talking over like this pan through these different areas in the universe of the Expanse, and that would have just been a better introduction. I mean, there are certain things missing here and there, but at the same time, you can kind of introduce at that kind of medium level where I'm intrigued to find out more about the politics and then introduce that stuff later on. I feel like that would have benefited them a lot, actually, because I think they use the text at the beginning for the final kind of narrative reveal of the episode, which I think is a rather lackluster one. And it would have been better had they given more time to get to that. So, like, not having the text crawl at the beginning might have made that major narrative event might have happened in the second or third episode, which would have been better, in my opinion. In general, I'll say that I'm going to start off with the bad stuff first, because there's a few things that are bad, and it's unfortunate because there is good here. There's actually a lot of good here, and I'm sure it becomes a really good series. I've heard that from some people. And not to say that this is bad, actually. The first episode isn't bad, it's just not great. Just from, like, a visual standpoint, everything's way too desaturated. There's all the colors just drawn out of everything, and it's really weird. I didn't really want to watch it. I feel like I also feel like the characters are not particularly interesting. Most of them are just generic. And boring. And it's not a good view, especially considering how the text started at the beginning. Like, the whole thing is just kind of rather generic and boring, it seems like. But there are a couple characters that actually I'm kind of interested in, but they only spend a little bit of time on them. There's one character I've lovingly called the Torture Mom. Because we see her, first we see her being a loving grandmother, and then we see her go and torture somebody. So I'm like, well, that's interesting. I want to know more about that character. That's, you don't see that too often, someone who is loving and also torturing people. Usually you see someone who tortures people being mean. So I wanted to see more of that, but she only gets like 2 minutes, maybe 3 on screen, and not a lot of time. And then the other character is this that I just call like the Dirt Man, because he's just on the spaceship and he puts all this dirt in the ground. He's got like this big gun with him, and he's just he acts all confident at first, and then he just starts to like cry and break down. You could tell that he misses dirt and earth and stuff, and he's kind of insane. And then that's just, but he's only on there for like less than a minute, so I don't even know if he's a major character. Maybe not. They used a major actor for him, so who knows. And another thing about the plot is just, I don't know, I think it takes a lot of steps that it doesn't really deserve to take. I feel almost like it's trying to be Game of Thrones in space, and it hasn't earned the ability to be Game of Thrones in space. It narratively isn't anywhere close. That's just one of those things that's just really puzzling to me, is they tried to push that, and they push too many characters at you too fast, which is like the thing that people say Game of Thrones has so many characters. It does, but they introduce you to the characters slowly, and they let you know who is the protagonist, in season 1 at least, pretty much right off the bat. Whereas In this, not so much. And they end up going for this big narrative reveal at the end, where or this big narrative plot point at the end, where the Mars group comes out and destroys. I think it's somebody from either the Belt or Earth or whatever. It blows up their ship and it kills one of the characters' girlfriends in the whole process. But I didn't care because I didn't care about her. I hardly ever knew who she was. It wasn't an earned emotional moment. But that said, there is a lot of good in the series. The setting I think is really good. The set design I also think is really good. The CGI is pretty good, and the actors are all really good. Even though the characters aren't that great, they're all really good actors and doing a pretty good job. So overall, for an introduction, it's not the worst, but it's got promise there, but it's also got a lot of issues that it needs to overcome. And hopefully it does. It just seems like the writing was really the biggest problem, but that there was still kind of the world was interesting, and I wanted to see more about it. Anywho, guys, that's it for this episode. I will talk to you all later. Peace.